Welcome back to Seaweed Brain Podcast, everyone. Today we are still in the duat with the Kane Chronicles for the last time, actually, before our little detour back over to Percy and Annabeth and Grover. Today we're going to be talking about chapters 24 and 25 of the Red Pyramid. We are going to Elvis. Stick around.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber Teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber Teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
Welcome back, everyone, to Seaweed Brain. It's just Carter and I today because we are working very last minute these days amidst tour and Carter about to start school again. So it's just us, and it feels so weird that we're not even staring into a Zoom screen. We're just like talking to each other in real.
Yeah,
it's so like not voyeuristic. It's so.
But you can't stare at yourself and fix your own hair as the podcast recording is happening.
Yeah. Where it's like weird, it's just the two of us, but we're trying to act like there's other people here, but there isn't, because we're not even like we're in the same room. We're not even on a Zoom screen together.
It kind of could just be a normal conversation that we have, except also there is a microphone, and we will try to be mindful of it and, produce decent quality audio despite the fact that we're sharing it and physically moving different distances from it.
Exactly. Which might be the case for the next few weeks if we can continue to record in person as we transition to the Wrath of the Triple Goddess. But we do have 2 more chapters of the Kane Chronicles to discuss today. It's been very fun. I'm actually quite sad to be leaving Sadie and Carter for a bit, but we'll see them again soon. We'll pick back up soon.
We will.
Before we get started with our 2 chapters of the Red Pyramid today, as always, we must thank our patrons. We have 2 new patrons to thank. We have Eliana and Noah. And as always, we want to thank our sustaining patrons, Dayton, Justin, James, Izzy, Olympus Weekly. You should join our Patreon to join our Discord server. We still owe everyone a special episode for August.
For August, yeah. It's September 17, but
it's fun. There's all kinds of special stuff there.
There is all kinds of special stuff there. There is a back catalog of these episodes, and I think the Discord is pretty fun.
The Discord is really fun. It's very special. You should join our Patreon, patreon.com/seaweedbrain. Okay, where did we last leave off? We were in Thoth's office, hidden with Khufu and a bunch of baboons.
Yes.
Carter just had the most miserable chapter ever, and honestly, Carter is going to continue catching strays today, especially in our first chapter. I feel so bad for him. He's going to spend basically this whole chapter stuck in Sadie's pocket.
Yes, it's true. He's joining important company. I think that this... Oh, well, I mean, he's joining Sadie, of course, in the, animal stuck in the pocket type of experience. But also, I feel like specifically, we're going to Graceland. The fact that he is at Graceland as an animal in the pocket, to me, that's giving Disney.
That's giving Lilo and Stitch.
It's giving Lilo and Stitch. It's giving hardcore America core.
Just so we know, when we say Lilo and Stitch, I don't think we ever got to actually see the characters of Lilo and Stitch going to Graceland. It's just part of the credits.
It's part of the credits. There are pictures of them at Graceland that fall, right?
Yes.
That are interspersed with the pictures of Nani and David hanging out and Cobra Bubbles coming over for Christmas and all of that. Yeah.
They take a family vacation to Graceland.
Yes.
You know who else recently took a trip to Graceland? It was me. Erica went to Graceland. That made these chapters very exciting and entertaining.
Graceland correspondent Erica.
Thoth is not so sure if he wants to help Carter and Sadie. / Horus and Isis, because he's like, you know, you guys are just the same. Like, I know your tea. Like, this isn't going to work out well. It's just going to be like all the other times. But Carter and Sadie were like, no, you should trust us. It's not going to be like those other times, because this time we're Carter and Sadie. So Thoth is like, okay, well, I'm going to test you to see if that's true and if I want to help you defeat Set. And then portals them. Right? It's a portal.
Yes. Thoth portals them to the tomb of a famous magician to recover an important artifact. And it turns out the famous magician is Elvis, because we're at Graceland.
Sadie is shocked because Carter says this is Graceland, home to the most famous musician in the world. And Sadie says Michael Jackson lived here, which is so real of her.
That's a very reasonable answer for a number of reasons. Michael Jackson has an estate called the Neverland Ranch, which was modeled after Elvis. So many things Michael Jackson did in his life were trying to say, I'm the heir to Elvis. There was a period of time that probably the youths listening don't remember, where Michael Jackson actually married into Elvis's family after Elvis died, as another way of trying to stake this claim and say he is the second coming of Elvis. Mm-hmm. But obviously different types of music. Michael Jackson was actually black, which is something we'll come to later in this discussion.
Yes. But yeah, Sadie is not impressed. Sadie's not impressed by the legacy of Elvis being the most famous musician in the world. Sadie is not impressed by the architecture and the grandiosity of Graceland.
I don't know if grandiosity is the right word, because many people might also say the camp. Like, the decoration scheme is giving Arrested Development. Did you not feel this way when you went?
I think from Sadie's perspective, of course, Sadie would not find Graceland to be impressive, because she grew up in England with like old money wealth on display through architecture wherever you turn, left and right. I'm just saying, from the outside, Graceland doesn't look particularly impressive. It looks like any other maybe like nice-ish home that might be in this area. On the inside, there are very interesting, specifically decorated rooms that you can see when you take a guided tour through the building, like the famous jungle room that they go to in this section, the like hallway and the staircase that's full of mirrors. So it's like an infinity mirror, whether you look up or down. But it's not giving palace, you know? It's not giving like portraiture and porcelain and expensive curtains and carpets. It is campy and unique.
Yes.
It's very American.
It is!
It's very American, so Sadie is not impressed. But in general, Sadie's just not impressed with Elvis. She's like, oh, rhinestone suits in my grand's old record collection. She's never seen Lilo and Stitch, clearly.
She's never seen Lilo and Stitch. And we get some other opinions on Elvis here, because Carter also chimes in to say, quote, Dad loves blues and jazz mostly, but he said Elvis was important because he took African-American music and made it popular for white people. He helped invent rock and roll. That is a take on Elvis.
That is a take on Elvis. That was maybe what would be considered a progressive take on Elvis when this book came out.
Yes, I think at the time it was considered progressive to acknowledge the musical history of Elvis. I think nowadays it would be more common to hear someone say Elvis was a grifter, he is a spiceless, styleless version of Chuck Berry, or something like that, you know?
Or maybe instead of saying he took African-American music and made it popular for white people, one might say he stole African-American music.
One might say that he did not necessarily add creative or technical things to outputs that were already existing and then just re-release them as himself, and they were much more successful, orders of magnitude more successful, simply because he could be played on the same radio stations and he could show up to gigs that these other people could not show up to, because he was literally, like, this is pre-integration we're talking about with Elvis. You know, like, he died, I believe, in 1970. So basically his whole career was from a time where it would not have actually been possible for
1977.
Okay. Like, when he was breaking television censorship standards by moving his hips occasionally, that would have been the 50s. This was solidly when he was doing all of these things that we're talking about, breaking the records, being in front of everyone all the time, always. That would have been not pre-Brown, but pre-Civil Rights Act, you know?
Elvis is a very complicated figure, but it is the year 2024. There have been many articles written, think pieces, fictional movies, documentaries about the life of Elvis that you can go turn to and learn more about him.
I would not recommend the fictional movie, but I would recommend some of the many think pieces.
Yes. You're talking about the fictional movie starring Austin Butler.
I'm saying I didn't gag for Austin Butler, and I don't think that Baz Luhrmann is someone who we turn to for incisive cultural critique.
What about Priscilla?
Oh, that's so true. That was from last year. Sofia Coppola, Kaylee Spaney, right? And Jacob Elordi.
And Priscilla Presley herself did say, "Oh, that's a good movie."
Yes.
I'm that's not a direct quote for the record. She did positively speak on the movie.
It is a whole different take on why Elvis is problematic. That has not to do with race, but with gender and the way that marriage worked as an institution at that point in America, where it was an old man and a young girl. And it's Sofia Coppola, so I have to imagine it's pretty, although I have not seen it yet, unfortunately.
Yes. Anyway, much to think about Elvis as a figure, but the important part for the plot here is that Elvis is in fact buried at Graceland. He's buried in the backyard, and
Which is pretty Egyptian.
To be buried like on, or like with your family, like on the estate.
To create your own tomb and have it be artistic and personally curated, and for it to be kind of a large part of your legacy. When people think about Elvis tourist attractions, you think of Graceland, which is also his tomb.
I do have to say it was very mesmerizing to walk through Graceland and learn all about his legacy and his history, and like see where he lived and what he chose to spend money on and how to decorate his home, and then to end up literally at his grave.
Like, you're thinking about a very wealthy person, self-create, like trying to curate his own legend.
Yes.
Before he dies, where he kind of feels like, because he didn't live that long, but he did live to be past his prime.
They're also buried in what's called the meditation garden. So it's this very pretty little section of the backyard where they're well landscaped, and, you know, like it's meant for you to walk through it and think about his legacy. And it was a fascinating experience. Not only to experience that, but to experience other people experiencing it, you know, because on any given day, if you're going to take a tour of Graceland, you're going to be there with some people who are serious fans of Elvis.
Yeah.
And it was very mesmerizing to see people like bow their heads, you know, in his honor, in his own home.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elvis is entombed at Graceland.
Yes.
Making it the tomb of a famous magician, if you consider music to be a kind of magic, which Thoth does.
Yeah, on this day, no one else is there, actually. It's empty. It's our siblings, and then very shortly, two magicians who look pretty upset. And, okay, we're not actually 100% on this. We're trying to closely go back through the text to get confirmation. I always assumed that they were Tennessean musicians. That
You
these
mean
are
magicians?
Yes.
You said musicians? Music is a form of magic.
Music really is the strongest magic of them all. No, okay, but
More
okay.
powerful than friendship?
Wow.
What do you think you would rank? Do you think you would rank music below friendship in the power of?
Whoa, that's controversial.
Is it? That's what I'm asking. What comes first, music or friendship?
I think friendship comes before music.
Okay. But music is a
But
close
it's close,
second.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, these two magicians show up pretty much immediately as soon as we get here. I didn't read them as being particularly of Tennessee, but Carter really did.
Well, because the outfits and the names. Their names are Jared and
Wayne.
Wayne. When I saw the name Wayne, I was like, yeah, he's from Tennessee. And they have some outfits. You know, they have some weird specialties. Like, one of them is basically a lizard specialist. All of the magic appears to be about lizard-related transformations. I was like, that feels Tennessee. I don't know. Maybe that's... They have lizards in lots of places.
I was going to say, I don't think Tennessee is particularly a reptile haven. I think there's lizards all over the world.
I think they make mention of the boots, don't they, in this chapter?
People can wear boots anywhere.
But I was like, they're cowboy boots, implicitly, reading between the lines, you know?
Yeah. Well, one of them turns Carter into a lizard, and Carter remains a lizard for the rest of this chapter. Sadie just like, boop, plops him into her pocket. And the rest of this chapter is fighting in the various rooms of Graceland, Sadie alone with Carter in her pocket against these two magicians. It's really, really impressive. Sadie is having a conversation with Isis and properly controlling the power of Isis and using the power of Isis to her advantage to defeat these two magicians. The whole time I was like, wow, this is really impressive stuff.
Yeah. We have the internal monologue, which is not just Sadie learning to control the power of Isis, but also the whole point of this is to prove to Thoth that she can do this, that she can have a healthy relationship to Isis, and that she can do things that Isis would not choose to do, left unfettered, in full control. So there is that part of it. It's her arguing back against Isis while also trying to use the powers. And also, Graceland is like weird. Fundamentally, we've been talking about how it's weird. So the fight scene gets to be weird as a result of that. There is the scene at some point where we're bringing Elvis's outfits to life and fighting with them.
That's so fun. I think that's really fun.
That it's classic
Riordan.
It is the way. I mean, it's not obviously not the first time that anyone has done this, but I think that it is one of my more favored high fantasy interacts with the real world type of tropes.
Yeah.
The
clothes
outfits.
coming to life?
The clothes coming to life, yeah. And specifically them being clothes that it feels like you're recontextualizing them, or like there's some kind of anachronism happening with the clothes. Because it's like clothes from the 50s that are being magicked. You know, like
it's kind of Sorcerer's Apprentice-y.
But I think the idea of it specifically being Elvis is like hammering in the culture clash element of the books in a very special way. You know, like I don't need no shade. Do I need to see a suit of armor come to life again? We've seen it. Been there, done that. You know what I'm saying?
I understand
like,
what you're
the
saying.
Elvis suits. It's like I want to imagine the gigantic feather collar that is stiff and straight behind.
Yeah.
But there's no like mullet inside. It's just that white rhinestone suit.
Yeah. That's so true, because it is the trope of the suit of armor comes to life in the big castle, except we're at Graceland. So it's Elvis's suits coming to life. And the best part for me is Sadie continuing to be unimpressed the entire time. She's like, what is the... These rhinestones are ridiculous. Like, what is going on with this jungle room? This is so garish, like, the whole time. And then my other favorite part of this chapter is the feminist citation practice of Sadie. Again, because they haven't had very many lessons in how to be magicians. They don't know very many things to do. Sadie is trying to think back to like things that Zia has said, and also like examples Zia has set in front of them. And she says, I remembered something Zia had said, use whatever you have available. The room was dimly lit. Perhaps I could make it darker. Darkness, I whispered. I felt a tugging sensation in my stomach and the lights flickered off. The music stopped. The light continued to dim. Even the sunlight faded from the windows until the entire room went black.
There is a lot that's fun about that. I think specifically, the first time I read these books, I definitely did not pay that much attention to Sadie and Zia's relationship, which is clearly present and well attended to in this. Throughout this one chapter, part of what we're getting is it's not just a relationship with Isis, it's the way that manifests in these weird ad hoc techniques that Sadie's using. It feels the most off the cuff, unhinged, where like very clearly what you're seeing is somebody who's kind of a prodigy but hasn't been that well trained, because she's just kind of feeling these random it's close to the Percy Jackson model of like tugs at the gut. Wouldn't it be nice if I could get this thing to happen? And then she is able to make it happen, but is also kind of overextending herself, but also is doing something that a trained person wouldn't do because she lacks technical background, but also most of them would not physically be able to do the thing that she's doing.
I just love that Zia really is Sadie's teacher. In addition to this figure that Carter has a crush on, I don't want us to forget the fact that she is Sadie's teacher. The only teacher she's really had thus far. And Sadie is a good pupil.
Yes.
As they're fighting through the house, they eventually do make it to the backyard meditation garden, aka a magician's tomb. And they have their final showdown here.
Okay. Is this not giving you Southern accent?
Well, you're just a little girl. You've caused us a lot of trouble, Missy. Okay, you know what?
Missy is telling me they're actually from Tennessee.
I do see Missy, but I can see where you're coming from. I can. They didn't make that choice in the audiobook, and that's why I didn't think that. But
there's a mention of... Oh, no, that's Elvis's shotgun. I was like, okay, if they have a gun, that's Tennessee. Not to single out Tennessee. That is the American South down. But I think that's supposed to be Elvis's gun. I actually can't tell.
I'm still hung up on the fact that you think that them turning everything into lizards is like inherently Southern of them.
We definitely come from a place with more lizards in the American South.
Yeah, I think we need to break down why you think that this wizard turning everyone into lizards makes him from Tennessee. That's okay.
Sadie makes a dragon. That's the final culmination of this battle.
I too, if I could only choose one animal to fight for me in a battle and like to conjure up, I think I would choose Komodo dragon. Because Komodo dragons are terrifying little dinosaurs.
The poison.
They're poisonous. They are gigantic. Covered in armor?
If our listeners recall I wonder if we're at the right age. Do people remember a time before people knew that Komodo dragons had venom?
Same. Okay. Once again, just a little explanatory background here, in case anyone forgot or is a newer listener to our podcast. Carter spent many years as a child volunteering / working for the Honolulu Zoo, and knows many random fun facts about animals. So, would you care to share the history of Komodo dragons?
So the primary mechanism by which Komodo dragons kill their prey is that they are generally scavengers. They eat dead things. So their mouths are full of the bacteria that grow in dying large mammals, and it perpetuates, right? Because their mouth is full of bacteria, they're able to bite an animal. They don't have to kill it with their teeth, but the wound will just be infected, and that animal will slowly wither away and die and be full of other bacteria rotting, and then the Komodo dragon will smell it, come back, find it, eat it, and then perpetuate the cycle with all the bacteria in the mouth, right? Because of this, the whole time people were like, oh, it's such a fun fact that even though a lot of lizards are venomous, a lot of snakes are venomous, Komodo dragons are larger than all of them, but actually they have no venom. They do have venom. But it's basically useless. Isn't that funny? Mm-hmm. But this was confirmed like when we were in high school that they had venom. Yeah,
that's fairly recent.
Before that, it was a subject of much controversy.
And now you know about a subject of much controversy when it comes to Komodo dragons pre the year of 2013.
You're all welcome. Yeah.
You're welcome. Also, I'm staring at the ebook and you're completely right. They are Southern because Wayne has a cowboy hat.
That's what I'm saying. They dress like Southerners.
and then he says, well fought, darlin'. But elemental magic is always quickest.
And then Sadie tries to mimic Zia's ropes.
And then Sadie tries to, this is the moment where Sadie is like, well, first of all, Isis says rope. Every magician carries rope. And then Sadie was like, oh yeah, Zia did that thing in the New York Museum. And so then she throws twine and yells, toss. Okay, and it works.
Okay, here we go. American Southern accent. It is canon.
Oh, wow. I really did listen to these very quickly. I'm sorry for ever doubting you, Carter. It's true. They are Southern.
That was the funniest part about the chapter is the magicians being Southerners down. Yeah. Not to say that being Southern is funny, but, as a child, being Southern was funny.
Oh, and then Sadie says something that, again, I think is very apropos. Dare we say the crux of the series, which is, and not just the crux of this series, but a very Riordian concept, which is, I'm not your enemy, she says to Wayne, but I can't have you killing me either. And therefore she is, at odds with him and has to...
She Bene Gesserits.
She says a bunch of words.
Silence! That was Sadie.
Blowing out the microphone. Oh yeah, she really does say.
She actually Bene Gesserit.
She literally does say silence.
Silence.
Put your hand in the box. She doesn't say that, but she does say silence. That requires so much. Carter. Anyway, Sadie succeeds at defeating these magicians that are following them.
And the lizard magician and the elemental magician.
Yeah.
Who does call back to the fact that back at Desjardins' apartment, we find out that the fifth element is cheese.
Fire, water, cheese.
Yeah,
long ago.
Fifth element.
The 5 elements.
The 5 nations. Cheese isn't part of the Avatar one, though. Lactose.
Oh, yeah. Lactose intolerance. We could never have included cheese in the elements in the Avatar: The Last Airbender world, but here it's okay.
This is actually a very touching moment. The Sadie transforming Carter back.
Yeah, Sadie turns Carter back into a human. It's just interesting that Sadie is able to turn Carter back into a human when Carter was having such a hard time convincing Sadie to stay calm and turn back into a human when she was a bird. Again, I just feel like Carter is feeling very incapable and insecure right now, but Sadie is girl bossing, and Sadie does turn him back. And he's like, how did you do that? And she's like, I don't know. But then we come upon the next problem, goosebump moment, which is that the magicians are not human. There's a very gorgeous description. Carter notices that Wayne and Jared are sitting completely still. Quote, his eyes and mouth were open, but he wasn't blinking or breathing. Next to him, Jared looked just as frozen. As we watched, their mouths began to glow as if they'd swallowed matches. 2 tiny yellow orbs of fire popped out.
Listener, we gotta pause there. The 2 tiny orbs popping out. We've seen this before. Do we remember? I think Carter's gonna mention this. Zia. When Zia was underground in that shrine to her family that he followed her to. tiny orb. Boop, boop, boop. And she's like, what are you talking about?
That was the same tiny orb of fire?
Maybe it's a different tiny orb of fire, but that's the only time we've seen this before.
That's so interesting because
And in this case, it's because they're Shabti and they're sending data out of the Shabti.
Whoa! Wait, I was thinking Zia's little ball of fire was blue for some reason. And
It was blue. Okay, so maybe so it could be different. However, we're trying to figure out what Zia was doing because we still don't know.
No.
And it was a blue ball of fire. And I think the description is basically the same.
You're not telling me Zia's been a Shabti this whole time. Carter. What? No.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
For Desjardins? For Iskandar? Wait. What? No.
The only other thing I will say is that Iskandar's specialty is statuary.
Oh my god. And she doesn't remember anything of her life from before age 8. No, I hate that for her. No. Oh my god. You're kidding me. Wow, I'm going to have to finish this book, even though we can't continue talking about it beyond this week. Okay, I'll continue the quote. 2 tiny yellow orbs of fire popped out from between their lips and shot into the air, disappearing in the sunlight. What was that? I asked. Are they dead? Carter approached them cautiously and put his hand on Wayne's neck. It doesn't even feel like skin, more like rock. No, they were human. I didn't turn them into rock. Carter felt Jared's forehead where I'd whacked him with my wand. It's cracked. What? Carter picked up his sword. Before I could even scream, he brought the hilt down on Jared's face, and the magician's head cracked into shards like a flower pot. They're made of clay, Carter said. They're both Shabti. That gave me goosebumps.
That was pretty gaggy. Yeah. The description of the cracks. And also Sadie for a second being like, oh my god, did I do that? I don't think I did that. That was a moment. Because she's just powered up. She genuinely, it seems like there's a moment where she is like,
oh my god, I killed them. I turned them into clay. Yeah. She's really concerned. Wait, I don't want this to happen to Zia. I'm freaking out now. Carter.
We do also,
Why would
Carter
you say
clocks
that?
it also. Carter says, Thoth was testing us. Those balls of fire, though. He frowned as if trying to recall something important.
Oh my god, literally. At that point, I was like, we need to get to Carter's chapter right now. Because every time Carter starts saying something and then falters in a Sadie POV, I'm like, no, we need to get to Carter's chapter so I know what he was going to say.
He's kind of withholding that way, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they realize it's like, oh, the fire is flying back to their master, like a recording. They're still trying to find the item of power that they were sent here for in the first place. Carter points at Elvis's grave, and then we see that there's a memento left behind by a fan, which is a necklace with an ankh on it, which they recognize from an old photo of their mother.
And there's a scroll attached to it.
Uh-oh.
An image of a cat cutting off the head of a snake.
Uh-oh.
This is so shady.
I think this is a continuation of our conversation we were having about Thoth and Bast kind of having each other's tea, right?
Well, okay, like mentally, we are like, it's a cat. It's Bast, right? But then they're like, no. This is meant to reference the cat of Ra fighting the sun god's main enemy, Apophis.
Yeah, however, the cat looks exactly like Muffin.
Yes. But okay, but the thing is, like, in general, like if you look up the most common version of the story of Apophis, the cat of Ra in question is Sekhmet, the powerful lion-headed warrior goddess. They do immediately say, this is Bast. This is Bast. What is going on? What's tea? And of course, this whole thing was a test. Everything has been fake. Thoth left this.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He is a messy queen who lives for drama.
Exactly. Regardless of whether or not that is Bast, he is intentionally making it look like it is Bast. Because he's a messy queen who lives for drama.
Making it not just a test, but a test where the reveal is like some tea. Like an, oh, did I do that? Oh, well.
Oh, did I do that about what is most likely in every universe his ex-girlfriend? As far as we're concerned.
As far as we're concerned, the ex-girlfriend. It's true.
Not in a mythological sense, but in a Riordian chaos sense.
That's the big reveal to end the chapter, though, is that maybe it's Bast, the cat of Ra.
Which, like, what does that even mean? What are the implications of that?
I mean, like, we can get into this. Like, the implications... Bast talked about being trapped with an enemy.
Exactly.
In the portal at the far end of the Duat together. Is it this image? Was she trapped with Apophis, the Chaos Snake? And
that's obviously what Thoth wants us to think.
That's obviously what Thoth wants us to think. Big if true, because then, if that's the case, Apophis is just in there by himself. without anything to occupy him, just trying to escape?
Also, was the myth wrong, or is Bast actually not Bast, but is rather Sekhmet?
That could also be true, that like Bast is Sekhmet, or that maybe they're like evil sisters and that they have tea going on. There are lots of potential explanations, although really it seems like primarily Thoth just wants us to think that Bast is not telling us something.
Yeah, because he is a messy queen
who lives for drama.
We're going to take a break here, and then we'll go and talk to him about it.
This episode is brought to you by Jira. Ever wonder how those big marketing campaigns that make headlines get delivered on time? It all starts with Jira, the only project management tool you need to plan and track work across any team. Every step of that campaign is organised in one place, from launching the campaign all the way back to designing ads and writing creative briefs. Get started on your next big marketing campaign idea today in Jira.
What's up?
Before you board your flight, where'd we get that incredible gnocchi?
Hold up. Did you just call gnocchi gnocchi?
No. You're at the airport. No way you can hear me.
Actually, with my new Galaxy Buds 3 Pro from Samsung, I can hear everything.
Now boarding.
Gotta go. I'll bring you back some gnocchi.
Tune into what matters using adaptive active noise cancellation with Galaxy AI. Get Buds 3 Pro now at Samsung.com. Galaxy AI features require compatible Samsung Galaxy phone and initial setup via Samsung Wear app.
All right, we're back. Chapter 25, we win an all expenses paid trip to death.
We're in Carter's perspective this time.
He is feeling bad.
Oh my god, I would be feeling bad too. He got turned into a lizard and then he couldn't help it all. And then like Sadie did everything. He says, quote, "Of course I felt grateful to Sadie for saving me, but I also felt like a complete loser. It was bad enough that I embarrassed myself on the basketball court with a troop of baboons, but I'd also totally failed in battle. Maybe I'd done okay with Leroy, the airport monster, but faced with a couple magicians, even clay ones, I got turned into a reptile in the first 2 seconds. How would I stand a chance against Set?"
I mean, he's asking for some real questions.
I'm asking that question too, Carter. What? We need to get you going on your power-ups. It's time. The demon days are approaching.
Woo. Yeah. But we're back with Thoth. We've lived. He's a little surprised. We also didn't mention that Sadie magically repairs all of Graceland as they're about to leave.
See, she's respectful. Even though she does not find the house to be classy, she said, "Let me leave it better than I found it."
Which is good.
Good girl.
She would be a good
Yeah.
field trip attendee.
Anyway, when we get back to Thoth, there's a whole pyramid where he is sitting. Because there's a pyramid in Memphis. Did you know that?
I did not. I don't know that many things about Memphis.
I was in Memphis. I didn't see a pyramid. It's the Pyramid Arena. There's some commentary about sports here.
There's some, yeah.
We can skip through that. That's not this podcast.
Yeah, Thoth is basically grading the test at this point. And he has some advice for Carter. Thoth is also checking the watch. He's waiting for the power-up.
He is waiting for the power-up, but at the same time, he seems oddly proud of Carter, doesn't he?
He's not, like, mean about it. I think he genuinely believes that it's coming.
He admits to the magicians being Shopti that he made, but he says, "I got a full report. You defeated the Shopti without killing. I must admit I'm impressed, Sadie. You controlled your magic and controlled Isis, and you, Carter, did well turning into a lizard." I thought he was teasing me. Then I realized there was genuine sympathy in his eyes, as if my failure had also been some kind of test. "You will find worse enemies ahead, Carter," he warned. "Even now, the House of Life sends its best against you. But you will also find friends where you least expect them." I don't know why, but I got the feeling he was talking about Zia. Or maybe that was just wishful thinking. I think Carter just has Zia on the brain 24/7. But this idea that his failure was a test and he passed?
I don't think that Carter passed strictly. But it seems like a warning as much as anything. Like, Thoth is rooting for them.
I was kind of getting the idea that, like, Carter failing meant that Horus couldn't fully take him over, if that makes sense.
I think that also makes sense.
That Carter being a weak baby
that he was willing to get turned into a lizard instead of getting taken over.
Exactly. Instead of letting Horus jump out and do whatever Horus wants, Carter would more likely fail in a situation, which maybe Thoth appreciates.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, it's time to confront Thoth, that messy queen, about this painting of the cat and the snake that he left. Carter says, "I held out the painting of the cat and the snake." It's a cat and a snake, Thoth said. Thank you, God of wisdom. That I want us to implement into our discourse together. I want to implement thank you, God of wisdom as an insult. When I make a very obvious observation about the text, like, oh, you're right, they were Southern the whole time. Thank you, God of wisdom.
Thoth is also, this is the truest messy queen who lives for drama moment.
He literally
where he refuses to elaborate. We have barbecue.
Carter said, you placed it for us to find, didn't you? You're trying to give us some kind of a clue. And Thoth says, who, me?
Who, me?
Who, me?
Did I mention we have barbecue? We had a deal, Jehudi is also, I'll say it. It's a little discriminatory. I don't, Sadie is, I think making a joke at his expense about the name Jehudi being funny.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, it is, she ate a little bit.
Yeah, but Thoth says, you know what? I like that name, but not so much when you say it.
Thoth refuses to elaborate, but he does hold up his end of the bargain in true messy queen who lives for drama form by basically just telling them, you were fine all along. You can read the book when he's in front of you.
Yeah, when Set's in front of you, you'll be able to read the spell. Of course, it won't necessarily be easy, etc. He says, you'll also require 2 ingredients for the spell to work. A verbal ingredient, Set's secret name. What? I protested. How are we supposed to get that? With difficulty, I'd imagine? You can't simply read a secret name from a book. The name must come from the owner's own lips, in his own pronunciation, to give you power over him. Which is cute because Sadie just said Jehudi, and Thoth was like, I don't like it when you say it.
Yes. It's also not a secret name. That's just his name. But still, it's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, they're going to have to convince Set or trick him or force him to tell them his secret name. Unless... Or
they could get it from Nephthys.
Oh my god, Nephthys, the other goddess who we haven't talked about this whole time. Mm-hmm. Chekhov's Nephthys.
It really is. It's true. We all have to find her in a river, which we're in Memphis right now. Which river do you think we're going to? Are we going to the Mississippi? We've kind of already done that.
Are we not going to the Mississippi?
I mean, we're talking about great American rivers. There's like Mississippi, Missouri, Colorado, and like Rio Grande, right? Am I missing any? Like when you think of like true rivers of America, the Hudson, maybe.
I've never thought of the true rivers of America.
We had different childhoods. Did you not get your 5th grade American history textbook and just stare at the map and think about what are the true rivers of America?
I was in a Christian school in 5th grade. I was learning about embroidery and how to keep my purity. Sorry.
When we were in 6th grade, we used the same textbook. I loved that textbook. It was like 1,000 pages reference. And the physical, like we had the online version. Do you remember this? That we could click through. It was like a McGraw-Hill online version and it was shitty. But also there were the physical versions where each person was assigned one, but it was like for the class. And you had to like check it out through a special procedure and bring it home. And it was really heavy because 1,000 pages hardcover.
In 6th grade?
In 6th grade, yeah.
I don't remember this at all.
Anyway, I really loved that textbook as a child. And a lot of that time was spent looking at the map and being like, what are the great cities of America? What are the great rivers of America?
Well, now you know.
Well, we don't know which one it's going to be, but we're looking for at a river. Yeah. Given where we are, given the fact that we have to go west, I think reasonably our options are the Mississippi or the Rio Grande.
Okay.
We'll be tuned in for that.
Yeah.
And we need a feather of truth.
We need the feather of truth. Okay, Egyptian mythology explainer. The feather of truth. Carter explains this because he's very smart. When you died in ancient Egypt, you had to take a journey to the land of the dead. A really dangerous journey. Finally, you made it to the Hall of Judgment, where your life was weighed on the scales of Anubis, your heart on one side, the feather of truth on the other. If you passed the test, you were blessed with eternal happiness. If you failed, a monster ate your heart and you ceased to exist.
And so we have to go and visit Anubis to get the feather in the underworld.
Uh-oh. Temperamental, moody god alert. This should be
Anubis,
fun.
who we, as far as we know, have not met yet.
As far as we know, yeah. And Thoth says perhaps Anubis will be in a good mood. It happens every 1,000 years or so. But of course, the question that we find ourselves asking in any great mythology stories when we have to reach the land of the dead, how do we get to the land of the dead without dying?
Without dying, yes. And the answer in this case...
The stones wept and they let me in.
My favorite version of this type of story is the version where you have to like die a little bit to get to the land of the dead. I'm trying to think of what examples I have, but there are definitely stories of people doing this where you have to like eat something that like 99% kills you.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have to have like an antidote waiting or something, you know? That's not what we're going to do. We're going to sail downstream in a river. Downstream, of course, being a Eurocentric term, because as Thoth reminds us, the Nile flows north. The delta is the northernmost point. It is upstream, kind of. Upper Egypt is south, because it's upstream in the Nile. Anyway, Thoth is like your rivers are backwards here, but you're going to want to go down a stream.
Find Anubis at the end of the river.
Which, given where we are right now, I think that's going to use up one of our rivers, right? Because that almost certainly has to be the Mississippi, so that we can like pop out in the Delta in New Orleans, a great American city we haven't been to yet with Percy.
Woo! And Khufu communicates through an epic guitar riff here that he would like to go and accompany the two of them. Maybe Khufu feels really bad and is sympathizing with Carter right now and knows that Carter's knows that Carter's in a bad place. They need some guidance. Maybe Khufu clocked that tea about Thoth being messy, about making them doubt Bast. And Khufu's like, they need an adult mentor figure with them.
Yeah, they need stability in their lives at this point, and that stability is Khufu.
Yeah. It's so true. Khufu was the stable mentor figure we needed all along.
Anyway, it seems like we're going to go see Anubis. Are you excited?
I am going to miss Thoth, to be honest.
Thoth is my favorite. It really...
He has such messy, eccentric professor vibes, covered in barbecue sauce 24/7.
Dare I say, I think that this is one of the more higher self-identification scale. Like Bast and Thoth are the highest self-identification moments I've had with
like gods in the Byron series.
Weird and verse characters, period, maybe.
Even more than, what about Artemis?
I don't self-identify with Artemis. I respect Artemis. I think she's very cool. I identify with Thoth and Bast because they are messier. Because they are... Artemis doesn't live for drama. That's the thing.
Yeah, she's actually anti-drama.
She's a little bit too buttoned up.
Yeah.
Pristine.
Yeah.
Efficient. I believe in efficiency. It's not like Thoth is inefficient, but he also... Did I do that?
Who, me?
Who, me? Do you want some barbecue?
I can't. I'm going to miss him. Will he be back?
I really hope this is not the last we see of him, and I genuinely don't remember.
Wow. It's going to be a long time before we go and see Anubis, though, because it's time to read The Wrath of the Triple Goddess.
I know. Wow.
So,
we don't even know how we're going to find Set's secret name at this point. There's so much for us to return to.
Ooh, cliffhanger. We're like kind of in exactly the middle of the book. So
yeah.
We'll pause here.
I know we also have to think about the question of whether or not Zia's the shop team. Ooh.
I don't want to be. I'm going to finish the Red Pyramid because I don't want to be thinking about that for the next 3 months. Ugh.
Can I spoil something?
No! Wait, you can spoil it for me, but I finally downloaded a royalty-free bleeping noise. You might have noticed that in the last episode. So Carter, you can tell me and I'll bleep it out for the audience. Okay, go.
This is a non-spoiler spoiler. You're not going to find out by the end of this book.
Oh.
What Zia's tea is.
Okay, that's fine. I don't have to bleep that out.
Yeah.
Ugh, bummer. Okay, well, that's fine. Should we say some reflections as we have to momentarily say goodbye to Carter and Sadie? Should we say some words?
Aww. I'll miss them. I'm rooting for them. I'll also miss Bast a lot.
And yeah, I'll miss Bast. I need to hear her rebuttal to Thoth being all messy this chapter.
Yes. It really, the dynamic's so perfect where they will never have a conversation together, where they'll just be shading each other constantly. Mm-hmm. And mostly being right, but also both being fun, goofy, quirky, lovable.
I'll miss them, and I hope Carter can get his act together.
I think that's mostly where we're at right now. It's Sadie is very promising.
Very
off to the
promising
races.
Prodigy energy.
Yeah. Carter, I know he has it. I know he possesses what he needs.
Yeah.
And we're rooting for him.
It's kind of giving that thing where he needs to develop self-confidence before he's going to be able to use his magic properly.
Yes, I think that's right. And I'm a little nervous for the energy of his chapters moving forward, especially because we know that we're going to go see Anubis. And we don't know 100%, but Sadie has been having a lot of meetings with a mysterious young teenage boy who is probably a deity of the dead. It's reasonable to believe that there's going to be a lot of juice in Sadie's next 2 POV chapters. I'm rooting for Carter as well. Carter needs some catch-up time.
Well,
maybe?
Can he be worrying about whether or not his love of his life is secretly a clay figure?
I think that's something for him to think about. I think he is maybe going to be taking point on Set's secret name as a problem.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that journey for him.
Yeah. So he can be productive while Sadie has her
divide the
emotional
labor. Yeah.
breakdown.
One person is on team Feather of Truth. One person is on team secret name.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna miss them. But I am excited to read Wrath of the Triple Goddess.
We just got the books.
We just got them just now today. So next week, Wednesday, we'll start with just a couple chapters, maybe just the first one or two, because most people aren't going to get their books until Tuesday night. And I know many of you will read it all in one sitting, but Carter has school and I have a job, so we will be not being able to read it that quickly.
Well, maybe.
Okay, Carter reads really quickly and I am dumb, so we won't be able to read it that quickly. But we'll get started next week. We'll take some time at the beginning of the episode to revisit like where we last left off with Chalice of the Gods and what the project of these books is and how they fall in not only the chronological timeline, but also in Rick's mind between writing the original series and writing for the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see everyone next week.
Yay! Thank you for joining us and for reading the Kane Chronicles. If you have been sticking around for these Red Pyramid chapters, you guys are the real ones. And we will see you then. Bye.
Bye, all.